Welcome back to CryptosRus. I'm George. We're all George. This week, obviously the U.S. market's closed today. Tomorrow, we don't have a lot of big macro stuff. But on Wednesday, people will be looking at the beige book to see what the Fed is thinking. And you have some jobless claims on Thursday. But the big thing is the unemployment report that's coming out on Friday. I guess both of those are important. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we'll have some macro stuff to worry about, okay? And we're in those situations where I think we turn back to normal. We're not in bizarro world where the market does the opposite. So actually, I think in these cases, we want the report to come in decent. We don't want them to come in horribly. Horribly, you would figure that gives the Fed more reasons to cut. But since the September cut is already baked in, it doesn't seem like we need to go in that direction. But I guess we'll see. And if they come in line with expectations, that'll be good. But if like the jobs report shows that the jobs went down tremendously, we didn't hire that much last month, then it could definitely sway markets. So those are the three macro stuff to worry about. And last week, in case you're wondering, the inflow was negative for both Bitcoin and Ethereum. Although, the good news is BlackRock still decided to buy. Others may have sold. For example, BlackRock bought 24.6 million. Fidelity sold 66.2 million. See, that's a big difference. And if you look at Ethereum, the total outflow was 165 million. And others sold, but BlackRock didn't. So I guess that's the good news. The caveat is those that understand will still continue to accumulate. And BlackRock is definitely accumulating. And that's not really a good thing. But short term it is for markets. Long term, no one really wants BlackRock to be dominating both Bitcoin or ETH or any markets, right? But they are definitely still acquiring and not selling. Now, for September, you could see a lot of people worry about September. I asked ChatGPT to confirm, not only for crypto, but for stocks. Stocks also, historically, September is one of the weakest months. And then you could see September for Bitcoin right here. A lot of red, but okay. We had 2 years, the last 2 years. 2023 wasn't that great either. 2024 obviously got better towards the end of the year, but leading up to September wasn't great either. But hey, we pulled out a green month last month, even though it started out rough and then we picked up. And same thing in 2023, which wasn't a great year, like I said. So, does it have to end in red? Does it have to go down? No. It was the same thing last year. Last year in 2024, after coming off of August, our August was pretty similar to last August. You could see August has now become a pretty red month. Okay, there's a lot of red now. Last 4 years, August was red. Coming off of a red month, there's a high chance that we could turn green. Look at 2023, we had a red month, turn green. 2024, red month, turn green. Right now, we're in green. Let's see. And it's not just based on that, obviously. There are other reasons why. It's not just hope or fate or whatever. There are a lot of things happening. Let's not forget that rate cut is coming this month. The FOMC meeting is happening this month, okay? And we're like 80 plus 90% in terms of getting a rate cut. That could definitely move markets in a good way, right? So that's the biggest catalyst that we have that's coming up this month. We do have a rate cut that's coming, and that's huge. We haven't had a rate cut for a long time, like a year now. Maybe a little bit less, but it's been a while. It gets things rolling. And then, exchange reserves are still low, dirt low. Fear and greed index have turned fearful. These kind of things, these kind of metrics, right, does tend to show when things bounce, especially like, in extreme fear when everyone's panic selling. That's usually when we bounce. We're not quite there yet, but I can feel the sentiment getting a little bit lower, a little bit lower, a little bit lower. But we have gone through this many times in the last few years, and definitely in this cycle, right? Where it seems like, there's really no reason for us to go up. And then we do. That's just how the market is sometimes. And of course, the fundamentals outside of metrics still great. You still have like guys like Sailor and Metaplanet that's buying. Sailor's strategy may be added to S&P 500 soon, which would be a huge deal. That means a lot of ETFs will be picking up strategy and putting them in their portfolio now, right? So that's a big thing. Sailor, of course, is continuing to buy. Metaplanet is continuing to buy. A lot of other companies are continuing to buy. So the fundamentals, still great, right? Still great. This also shows accumulation. Accumulation addresses skyrocketing right now. Skyrocketing. That may be a surprise to some of you guys, right? Because a lot of you guys only judge health by price, but that's not the way to do it. You got to look at a lot of the things behind the scenes or under the hood. And this is one of them. The accumulator addresses is skyrocketing. Ever since Bitcoin actually got a little bit weaker, that's been happening because there are a lot of whales, big whales, that are buying behind the scenes that we don't even know about. We try to look at and analyze these buys, and sometimes we catch them, but there are so many others behind the scenes that we just don't know about. And they are loading up and preparing because they know this is temporary. Even if September turns out to be a bad month, but what about October? What about Uptober? And then November, which is a really good month historically, and December too. But from a TA perspective, there are still many thinking that, hey, we're about to bounce. Okay, this is showing that Bitcoin is extremely oversold. This is on a 3-day scale. And according to this trader, a midterm rebound or pump is around the corner. And here's another pattern, a bullish megaphone pattern. Again, showing that market is ready to bounce. So September may not be a bad month. Could be a good month. Maybe not a really fantastic month, but doesn't have to be, we don't have to end up in the red, right? And here's the thing too. Bitcoin dominance, it's not just about Bitcoin, obviously. ETH is still holding very well. Sol is holding well. Not as well as I like, but there are still some that are holding well. Bitcoin dominance has not climbed up yet. But when it comes to these charts, sometimes, Bitcoin dominance keeps falling. Sometimes it does bounce back to a key level and then bounce down. And that is when the final altcoin season happens, right? But right now, what's good about the situation is Bitcoin dominance is still low. So that's why so many alts, at least the big cap ones, are still holding quite strong against Bitcoin. That's another indication that things aren't over, that we're continuing forward. Because if right now we're seeing skyrocketing Bitcoin dominance back to the 60s and 70s, then I would be a little bit more worried. But right now we're not doing that.